Welcome to A Voice and Beyond. We have Link Forrester all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. How are you, Link?
I'm doing great, Marissa. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing good. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm actually wide awake and raring to go and excited to talk to you. We have some interesting things to cover off on, but we're going to start a little bit with who you are. At the moment, you work in the financial services industry where you continue to lead a thriving financial planning and wealth management business. And just recently, you published this beautiful, I would call it an autobiography. It's called The Side Road: Finding Joy and Purpose Through the Twists and Turns of Life. And it truly is a delightful book to read. I've read it, and we're going to be talking about this. But let's just start with where you're at right now, and then we're going to talk about some of the ideas and life stories that you share within your book. So you started out, you graduated from Auburn University with a bachelor in building construction, but you started your career in sales at IBM. So what happened there?
I did spend a little short 1 year in the construction business before starting at IBM, but IBM was my first real job, if you will, and it gave me an opportunity to learn about myself and learn about dealing with other people and the difference between a quota territory job versus a contract sales job, which ultimately led me to my current business that I'm in. So yes, it was IBM was a great start. A person who knew me when I was young uh, gave me a chance to go to work for IBM, and it worked out to be a great start to my career.
Yes. But then you reached a point in that job where you decided that you weren't going to stay there anymore. And it's an interesting story because you actually decided in your mind that there was a certain criteria of job that you wanted to go into next. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I think the first thing I realized is when you're in a job like I had at IBM, sort of a quota territory job, that everyone was managing your earnings, managing your time. And I wanted something different than that. I wanted to get into a business where if I sold something, it was based on a contract. It would be a contract sale where I would, earn what I deserved. And I wasn't super passionate about technology. I wanted to get into something a little bit different. And of course, when I started way back in the day, our business was a little bit different. We did primarily life insurance and disability insurance planning, estate planning. And through the years, we migrated into the wealth management and financial planning side of the business. But it was a good change for me to do something different. Another person introduced me to this business and invested in my life, made a big difference for me.
Mm-hmm. So that at that time you were married, and
I was,
yes,
still
and
am.
you still are 35 years later plus. So,
Yeah.
but there was a lot at stake there because you said that potentially you could have lost your home, and you still went and you took that leap of faith. So, was there fear around that? Or did you have some kind of gut feeling that everything was going to be okay?
I believe that I would do well in that business. That business is really a business built on activity and how hard you worked. And I was committed to that. To say I wasn't a little nervous, sure. I mean, I had a great job at IBM. Everybody thought I'd lost my mind to leave that job and go into this sort of commission only, work for yourself career. But I knew it was I was better suited for that, and it worked out. And I'm very thankful for it. I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah, and probably it's just as well that it did work out because you are still with your wife. At the time, she thought you'd lost your mind as well.
She did, my parents did, her parents did, but we did it. It worked.
Thank goodness. So, was there any lessons that you learned through that process, through that experience? Was there, did it teach you anything personally?
Um, sure. I mean, well, initially the process I went through to make the change is I knew I wanted to do something different. I just wasn't so sure what it was. So
Mm,
I made a list, one of all the things I wanted in a different job, in a new job. And then I made a list of everyone who I thought had pretty cool jobs. And so I spent a couple of months having lunch with all my friends, the people I knew, and try to learn about their career and their business and see if it kind of matched my list. And it was during that time that I met this person, Bill Goodwin, who really changed my life and convinced me that I was built for this business. It matched my list, and it was true. And I learned that I could do it. You know, I learned that hard work, um, you know, stick to itiveness, if you will, and staying with it. Uh, you know, I was built for that. And most people don't like the kind of job we're in. We're getting referrals. We're calling people we don't know. We're introducing them to ideas they don't really want to talk about. And it's what we call sort of a no demand product. No one's calling us for what we do.
mhm.
We're calling them. But
Yes,
I seem to be built for it, and it worked out.
yes. You talk about in your book passive risk versus active risk. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, I mean, passive risk would be staying at IBM. I was comfortable there. No one was asking me to leave, but I knew I wasn't really happy. And if I waited 10 more years, then all my problems would be bigger. And I would just be delaying something that was going to happen. Active risk was taking this commission only job. I call it kind of being naked into the wind. You know, you just sort of got to go for it.
Mm.
And so that's my sort of analogy between passive risk and active risk.
I love that because most people probably are in a situation where it's passive risk. They're in a job they don't enjoy, but it's easy and it's what they know. And taking that big leap forward is a big deal. And especially for you, you had your wife. By that time, you had some kids. Like that was a big thing. And you said that your house was at risk. You could have potentially lost your home, but you did it. But what I love is that you had the list of what you actually were looking for. So you kind of had identified clear goals. And I think that sort of mitigates some of that risk, doesn't it? If you know what you're actually looking for, if you have clarity around what you want.
I agree. And failure was not an option. I was going to make it work. I was going to work harder than everyone else around me, and do what was necessary for it to work. And it has worked, and it's created a lot of freedom for us. And most of my clients now are friends and great relationships. So I really have enjoyed it.
Yes. So you talk about the success that you're experiencing and you have experienced. What do you believe is the secret to that success? Now, you're not allowed to say hard work because you've already said that you work hard, but what other qualities do you bring to the table that make you successful?
I mean, in our business, you need to be trustworthy. They've got to believe in what you do. And, you know, that's important, but it's truly a relationship. I mean, we journey along with our clients through their life, and we help them through the good and the bad and all the tough decisions. And, a lot of the things that we help people with, they're not super challenging things to figure out, but they need someone to encourage them to do the right thing, to ask the right question, to all of those things. So I think being there, being present with clients, being interested, being helpful, you help enough people, you'll get what you want out of life too.
That is so cool. And that applies to a lot of industries, even the industry I'm in. I'm a singing voice teacher by trade. And everything that you've said actually applies to what we do, that we're there, we have to be present, we have to be trustworthy, we have to build relationships with our students, we have to be there to help them, to guide them, help them make the right decisions. So much of that applies in life as well, doesn't it? It's all about connections and building relationships in life as well.
It is. That's what I describe as the main thing. I'm all about relationship.
Yeah. Now, talking about relationships, you've been married to your wife for just over 35 years now?
Approaching 37. Yes.
Congratulations. My 30th wedding anniversary is in September. So,
Well, that's a big one. Y'all have big plans?
not at this stage, because I keep suggesting to my husband that we do something, and he doesn't seem to get as excited as me, and it's sort of dampening my spirits a little bit. but but we'll see. We'll see. We had big plans to start with, and those plans seem to be diminishing at the moment. But anyway, at least I will expect a nice gift.
There you go.
There you go. So, what do you believe is the secret to longevity in a relationship? Because you two married really young. You're at college.
That's right. I think we decided to have absolutes in our marriage pretty early. We absolutely decided we were never going to consider divorce. So if that's off the table, then let's figure it out, right? So no problem so big that we can't figure it out. We were in love when we started. If we're having a problem, we can be in love again. And it's been a good approach. We've no marriage is without a lot of struggle and stress and compromise and arguments and all that sort of stuff, and we have plenty of that. But our relationship is one that we cherish. It's one that we value, and we want to we want it to be more than, we're not a couple that just wants to live together, and we want it to be more than that. We want it to still be full of life, full of fun. And so far so good. She hasn't run me out yet. I always tell her, I said, baby, if you're leaving me, I'm going with you.
So it's no point going anywhere.
That's right.
And that ain't a threat, it's a promise. I love that. That's so cool. I love the idea that the two of you sat down very early on and decided that divorce was not going to be a thing. But it's really easy to say that, and then life throws you challenges, things that you wouldn't expect to happen. And I know at the moment you have 3 children, you have 2 daughters-in-law, you have 3 grandchildren, but very, very sadly and very tragically, you lost your son about 12 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And that was, under very tragic circumstances. How did that change your life at that time? And how did that impact your relationship at the time?
Yeah, I think my whole life is marked by that event. I mean, my whole life changed then. And I mean, you question everything in your life. You question your faith. You question your just happiness and just everything about life. But I committed and we committed that we weren't going to let Tyler's loss take us down too. We weren't going to let it take our marriage down. Most marriages don't survive that kind of tragedy, and it's hard. I mean, we both grieve very differently, and we both just you know, dealt with that situation differently, and being able to be patient with each other, being able to forgive each other, being able to forgive yourself. I mean, all those things are just necessary to deal with that kind of loss and that kind of trauma in your life. And so, yeah, we continue to be happy, and life's gone on. And it's true, grandchildren have sort of been something new and have made life a little easier, but there was a real tough road there for a while. Thankfully, we still had one child living with us. Our youngest was still in the house. I think if we were empty nesters and then lost Tyler, it probably would have been that much harder. But we still had to get up and be parents for Caroline and love her and, help her, through her, high school years. And I think that obviously helps some as well.
Yes, because she would have been grieving as well. I mean, if that would have, something like that would impact the whole family. And you're so right in saying that quite often a loss like that can tear not only a relationship apart, but a whole family. And just talking about something that happened to me, I lost my first husband over 30 years ago, and it tore the whole family apart. Not only did, and not only you dealing with the grief of the loss, but then all these other people start walking away because there's anger, which is part of that grieving process, is the anger and wanting to blame and your own guilt that you're feeling. It can really tear you apart, but tear everyone apart that's around you. So that's an incredible thing that the two of you survived that. And the fact, I can imagine men think and feel differently to women, and your grieving process absolutely would have been very different to Carla. Yes. So how did you grieve? Do you mind sharing your grieving process, what that was like for you?
Yeah, so for me, I like to be around other people and talk about Tyler and, celebrate the things that we enjoy doing with him and just who he was. And I'm always open to that. My wife's a little more, would prefer to be by herself, sort of be alone, thinking about Tyler, or thinking about, she just is, we're both social, but she's just more introspective, just wants to, have some more alone time. So I think that's one main difference in the way we handle stress and grief. I'm sure there are other little nuances of that, but that's the main difference. Our family, we celebrate continue to celebrate his birthday and his death day. We get the family together at the graveside. We go to eat at one of his favorite places. We get a chance to remember and think about him. We have two things still in our life that we'll spend any amount of money to keep going. One is his dog. His dog is, we still have Bailey.
Really?
She's 13,
Wow.
and little black lab, great dog, and then we still have his car, his Tahoe. So we'll keep both those things going at any cost.
Well, I'm glad you're keeping the dog going, because very early in your book you talk about another dog and your wife saying, I'm glad I'm not that dog. And
Yeah,
I'm going to give my power of attorney.
that's right.
Just tell us that story quickly about
Yes.
your own dog.
Yeah, we too had a black lab, and she got sick. And I came home from work, and she was, couldn't move her back legs in the driveway. So we decided, my wife had already called the vet. Betsy, you really need to take her to the veterinary hospital at Georgia. So we took her up there, and after about 10 minutes, they kind of gave us the news. Said, look, she looks pretty sick, but we're willing to operate on her, but it's $5,000, and we'll give her less than a 50% chance of making it off the table, or we'll put her down for you. And I just started in this business. We didn't have two nickels to rub together hardly. There's no way I could afford $5,000 for this experimental surgery on our dog. So I took all the kids, got them all together. We loved on Jordan before we sent her to dog heaven, and we were all pretty torn up about it. And so now we're driving home. We're about halfway home, and my wife looks at me and says, hey, when we get home, I want you off my medical power of attorney. My mom will spend $5,000 to make sure I'm okay. So I guess I've softened up through the years, and we have a little bit more money now. So as a matter of fact, our dog recently did get sick, and she just had surgery, Bailey, and had her spleen removed, and 2 blood transfusions later, but she's still going. So.
Okay, so was that $5,000?
That was more than $5,000. Yes.
Oh my gosh! So that other dog, it was just the timing.
Just the timing. That's right.
Wasn't meant to be. So talking about you, Link, it's been said that you possess a rare blend of humility, faith, and a good sense of humor, which we can clearly hear that, all of which have enabled you to grow through the trials of becoming a parent at a very young age, make a risky career change, and navigate the tragic death of a son. So that humility, faith, and good sense of humor, how important do you believe those qualities are?
Yeah, I think I think faith is the most important thing. I mean, you got to believe in something bigger than yourself. So you've got to figure out what you believe is true and what you're going to believe in. And I think that's obviously super important. And then that gives you a sense of humility, who you are in light of, bigger things, and it makes you seem a little smaller, which is probably okay. And having a sense of humor makes life a lot easier. So I try to take myself not too seriously, and like to have a little fun. So
yes, and I think a lot of what you're talking about too is putting things into perspective. I think you have a good perspective when you talk about something bigger than what is just happening in front of you. It's just like, let's put this in perspective here. Yeah. Would you say you're a visionary man? Because you take this long view at life. You don't just sit in the present. You kind of look forward. You're a forward thinker. So would you call yourself a visionary?
I mean, visionary seems like a really important word for someone to describe someone. I'm not so sure I'm a visionary, but I don't think any of my ideas are super original. I've borrowed them from somebody, I'm sure, through the years. But I do. I don't know what the right word is. Visionary, I don't think is the right one.
I like it. Yeah, I actually like the word visionary because it means someone who can sort of do big picture thinking. It's not necessarily about being Bill Gates or Elon Musk. It's just someone who takes a long view, like, and can see big picture.
All right, then, if that's the way you want to describe it, then I'll accept it I'll accept being a visionary.
Okay, you can add that to all your things, the qualities you possess.
All right.
I give you permission. And if anyone argues with them, you say, you go and talk to this woman in Australia called Marissa Lee Naismith.
That's right.
Now we're going to talk about this beautiful book, it's The Side Road. You have written this, it's an autobiography. Why the title? Why The Side Road? What's all that about?
Yeah, I just think it's choosing a different path, not necessarily going with the flow, finding your own way, um, doing something that not everyone else is doing because you think it's the right thing to do. Or, I like the side road, the road less traveled, any of those would have fit for sure.
Yes. Okay. So, in other words, maybe it's not about conforming and finding your path in life.
Yeah,
The
I like
path,
that.
the path that fits you the best.
Finding your way.
Mm-hmm. So, what's the message that you want to share with people? Why the book?
Well, the book wasn't my idea. The book, one of my sons really wanted me to write the book, Cole, and he went so far as to line up 5 interviews with me, like with a ghostwriter, a writing coach, a company called Scripts. And after all that, I said, "All right, Cole, I don't know, but I don't even journal that well. I'll give it a try." So I started writing a bunch of life stories.
Mm-hmm.
And after writing all those life stories, I said, all right, well, if I was going to organize these and put them in a book, what would the chapter titles look like? And I came up with the chapter titles. I'd take a story, put it in a chapter, write about it. And what I realized is I really enjoyed it. I liked writing this book. I think Cole thought my book might be more business centered when he was encouraging me to do it. But I like the story of life. There are a few chapters about business and work. There's some chapters about faith and what we think is important. There's some chapters about just our family life,
Mm-hmm.
and fun things we do. And so it's a fun book. I think it's an easy read. It's a short book. The publisher has on the back of the book. It's an 82-minute read. So no one's going to invest too much time in this thing if they don't like it. But
Yes.
hopefully they'll find it entertaining.
Yes. Do you feel there's some kind of legacy around the book for your family?
Yeah, I think in the future grandchildren, great grandchildren can read this and learn a little bit about their Poppy and their CC and what they were really about. So I think that'll be good.
Yeah. And in the book, you talk about finding joy and purpose through life's twists and turns. So, is that actually what happened to you through those dark times in your life, that you found your purpose and what you're meant to be doing?
Yeah, I think one of the lessons in the book is just finding truth. Do you believe there's truth somewhere? Absolute truth. Do you believe in that? And if you do believe that, can you find that? What is that for you? And I think if you can believe something so wholeheartedly that you'll put your faith in that and your trust in that, that it makes all these events in life seem a little less stressful. And if you believe there's life after this place on earth, then that's even better. Then this is just sort of the prelude or the warm up to what's coming,
Yeah. Yeah. What about for those people who haven't found their purpose in life? Is there anything that you can say to those people to help them discover that purpose? Or what does purpose, I think you just explained what it means for you. So how can people find their purpose in life?
Well, I think you got to expose yourself to different ideas. Is what you believe, does it stand up to scrutiny? Are you willing to be vulnerable? And I'm a Christian, I'm a Jesus follower, I believe those things. That I don't believe them because it's popular, or I believe it because I really believe it's true. And if I believe it's true, then there's no way I can't put my faith in that and appreciate that the relationship I have with a God now who, you know, all of that is just so important to us. And I'm willing to put that up against other ideas and test it and all of that because I'm comfortable with that. And it gives me a lot of security and hope and what's, you know, what's ahead and all these challenges in the world and life and my own health or my own struggles. I'm not too worried about all that stuff. It's just a temporary thing.
Yeah. So it's like having trust, isn't it? And do you talk about, you encourage your readers to trust in their own inner compass to guide them towards their true purpose? How can people cultivate this trust? It doesn't mean to follow your gut feelings, what your instincts are telling you. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Well, I think one thing that's really important is to have a small group of friends, people you respect, people you trust, to help you along the way. You know, I've got a handful of guys that I've met with for the last 30 years, and they're my go-to people. If I'm struggling with something, they're the outside of Carla, they're the first people I go to say, hey, what do you think? I'm dealing with this. I just learned this. And I think being vulnerable with, I mean, let's face it, this life can be lonely. And just a marriage or relationship with your spouse isn't enough. You need other people in your life that care about you, that can help you, you know, down that journey we call life. And I think that's one secret to finding out who you are. And that is being vulnerable with a group of other people to help you figure all that out.
I heard a really lovely way of describing friendships. Mel Robbins has a beautiful podcast, and she was talking about there's 3 types of friendships. One, are friends for a reason, and they're people like, for example, that you work with. They're your friends for that reason because you work with them, or you might train with them in the gym, or they may go to the same coffee shop as what you do. Then there's friends for a season, that they're only meant to be there for a part of your life. And then there are what most people call your best friends forever, but she says it should be best friends flexible, because you shouldn't put demands on a friendship. And they're the friends that you can call at 4 a.m. in the morning and say, I have a problem, or I just need to talk, and they'll always be there for you. I thought that was so lovely.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that's, I mean, this is a lonely place, and loneliness is a tough thing. And so just having people that care about you, there's no purpose other than just friendship. And that's in a relationship. And there might be a common thread if you develop these friends over time, and that's likely going to happen. But it'll help you be a better you, right?
Yes, yes. Now, this book includes many of you, like it's full of your personal anecdotes and reflections. Was it difficult for you to share any of these? Was there anything that you were writing about that you thought, oh, this is just so hard to relive this?
Not for me. I didn't mind. I don't mind talking about Tyler. Obviously, that's the hardest part of the book, is just talking about that loss. And, that was the hardest thing to write about. A lot of other life stories in there, but I was happy to share, happy to be vulnerable, happy to be silly, happy to have people laugh, some at my expense. I certainly don't mind that. We have a lot of funny family and life stories in there, so I think I didn't mind at all. No.
So when you were writing, was there a story that brought you the greatest joy when you were reflecting on it? And would you like to share that with us?
Well, there are a lot of funny stories, but one is I'm a big golfer. I play a lot of golf, and I have this one story that my son and I always had this agreement that if one of us made a hole in one, you had to rip your shirt off and run to the hole. And there I was in the middle of a tournament, made a hole in one, and I ripped my shirt off. I ran to the hole, man boobs going and everything. It was a lot of fun. Thankfully, I didn't hurt myself.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Was it healing for you to write the book and for your family as well to read it? I mean, did it bring them joy and healing for you at the same time?
I thought it was therapeutic to write it. I enjoyed writing it. I thought it was fun. I wish I had more to write about. And I think most of my family likes it. They don't all like all of it, I guess, but
Especially the in-laws.
I think they're okay with it. But yeah,
because you guys didn't start off too great.
No, that's the first line my father-in-law told me was, "Link, time can heal a lot of wounds." So
he was wounded just by meeting you.
yeah, well, his daughter was pregnant. It was the first time we met. It was kind of a rough introduction, but
yeah,
I think they found a way to forgive me through the years. We've had a pretty good relationship, and we still have all four parents are still with us.
That's incredible.
So we're in that sort of sandwich years right now. We have grandchildren, and we're busy helping with all the babies, and then we have aging parents that need our help, and so that's keeping my wife especially busy.
So that's at the moment you're going through a new season again, a new journey in life.
We are. Yep. All of our parents are struggling with some kind of health issue, but they're still together. They're still happy. They're still living in their home or a new home together, but they're in their home. And yeah, it's kind of a cute phase in life because they pretty much just have each other now, and it's kind of fun to see them still in love after however many years this is, 60 years, I guess.
Wow.
So,
wow.
A lot.
What do they say? You get less for murder.
You get
So reading your book and you being in that writing process and going back and reading through it, was there anything you regretted or something that you would have said to the young Link at the time who was going through whatever it was that was happening?
Oh, I don't have to go to the young Link. I do stupid things all the time, even now, that I can regret. You kidding me? I mean, look, I have this thing. I'm quick to forgive other people when they do something, and I'm quick to forgive myself. I make mistakes all the time. I tell people, if you know me long enough, I will disappoint you. So let's get over that. Let's just find a way to care about each other and not sweat the small stuff. I don't know that if I really regret anything in the book. I mean, obviously I would do things differently. I mean, Carla and I got off to a tough start.
Yes.
I mean, at least it looks that way from the outside. I didn't mind so much. I mean, I got a pretty good upgrade. I went for the hard close. She had to say yes, So I feel like I won in the deal. I married my trophy wife first, and now she's stuck with me.
That's so cool. That's beautiful to hear after all those years to have that love. That's incredible. And you're also a seasoned traveler and an adventurer. What's your favorite place you've visited?
We've been to a lot of cool places. Wow, favorite place. Um, I mean, we still go to some regular places every year. We go to the Keys every year, down to Islamorada. My friend has a beautiful house. He lets us rent from him, and that's beautiful. I mean, we've been, you know, on some great trips. My wife would probably say something like Greece or Italy or,
Mhm.
um, you know, Spain. We've been to all those places.
Yes,
I've seen,
Mediterranean.
yeah, I'm more of a margarita and a beach person.
Ah,
So
so Caribbean?
we like Cabo. We've been there a good bit. We Yeah, I mean, my wife's a beach person, so anywhere with sand, she's pretty happy.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm a traveler as well. I love traveling, and I try and go overseas when it's not COVID times, like
Yeah.
once or twice a year if I can. I never did any travel till my kids grew up. I never went overseas, and I feel like I'm making up for all that lost time now. And people say to me, "You're never here, you're always at an airport." And I'm thinking, well, you know what? I never went anywhere. I didn't go anywhere. I raised my girls, and now it's my time. So you kind of have to make the most of it. I couldn't afford to travel when the kids were growing up.
Well,
Mm.
we can relate to that. We've done a lot more traveling as we've gotten a little older. And Montana, we go out in the mountains some and hike, and we like that too. So I guess if I
Okay.
could sit here long enough, I could name a lot of places that we like.
Yes, yes. I love that you say are you still 55? Because you're 55 here.
I'm not still 55. That's right.
Okay. Now that you're 21 and just getting started, what is it for you that gives you that drive and that energy and that enthusiasm for life?
uh, you know, it, you know, and all the different phases, like work now, I've formed a new partnership with a friend of mine. We're doing something new. It's fun. We're both committed now, working a little bit longer than we thought we would. We're energized by that. I'm still pretty healthy, still playing golf, still doing these different things. So I guess it's probably the social part of all of it. I mean, the work part, the relationship with our clients, the relationship with my business partner. One of my sons now in business with me. We're enjoying
So
that.
cool.
So I think that everything that we do involves some kind of social and some kind of relationship piece to it. And I guess that's probably what energizes me more than anything, I guess.
And that gives you your sense of purpose.
It gives me my sense of enjoyment. Relationship to me is really important, and whether it's my relationship with my wife, with God, with my friends, with whoever it may be, those are the things that I value the most.
So, do you think there's another book in you?
I don't know. Probably not. I wouldn't mind it, but my wife would probably say, "Hey, one was enough."
Did it take you a long time or was it just stressful?
It did not take that long, and it was pretty. It was really easy to do. I wrote it sort of during COVID. I had some time. It was uh, it was pretty easy. I enjoyed it, and
Yes.
I
I
would
can,
encourage anyone to give it a
yes,
try. To
yes.
I did hire a writing coach about three quarters of the way, and she really helped me kind of organize my thoughts introduced me to a publisher. Publisher took it first try. So all that was pretty exciting and went pretty smoothly.
Amazing. I think the thing for me would be trying to remember everything. How do you do that?
It comes, it's fun. You sort of organize your thoughts and get these stories figured out. You sort of kind of figure it out. And I solicit a little bit of help from, the family on things I had forgotten. They were willing helpers, I guess.
Mm. So is there any piece of advice you'd like to share with our listeners who may be feeling stuck or lacking purpose in their lives at the moment, or unsure of their path or how to move forward? Is there anything you'd like to say to those people based on your experiences?
Well, I think we're all prone to be in seasons like that. I wake up every morning. I have this in the book. I tell them there's 4 I am statements I try to tell myself every morning. I try to tell myself that I am loved, I am free, I am secure, and I am happy. And it just allows me to kind of reset my thinking. I think about who loves me, the relationships that I have. I think about how secure I am in those relationships. I value the fact that I'm relatively healthy and free to do some things I can do right now. That may not always be true for me.
Yes.
And for right now, we're pretty happy, but we might go through another season of life where our happiness factor could be a little bit less. But I think having a moment to talk to yourself and say, hey, it's okay. This is what's important. Let's make today a good day, new start. And call someone you like. Try to find a relationship that's important to you and lean in that direction. I think is always helpful.
Sounds like there's a lot of gratitude around that as well.
Yeah. Lots to be thankful for.
Yeah. So we're wrapping this up now, Link. Where can people find the book?
You can find that book anywhere you buy books. If you buy them online, you can just put in the side road or put in my name, and you should be able to pull it right up. It's on, it's at, if you buy books at Barnes and Noble online, you can get it there anywhere.
Okay. And we will share your links in the show notes too. Perhaps we can put a link to the book as well.
That sounds great.
Okay. Awesome. Well, look, thank you so much for your time. And reading this did bring me a lot of joy. And I could feel the love coming through every page, every word on every page, through the contents of the book. I felt like I was there beside you. There's so many lovely stories. And I just wish you all the very best to you and your family. Your wife, Carla, she sounds like an amazing woman putting up with you. No.
Yeah, she is. A tough sentence.
Yeah, but no, please take care. And thank you so much for being on the show, and best wishes with your book sales and with life and your journey and all your travels.
Well, thank you, Marissa. Thanks so much. Great to be on the show.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.